All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Things Odd. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips.
I'm Dr. Hannah Galloway.
And I'm Trista Hauser-Smith.
All right, so we have a great topic. Today is our research spotlight, and I'm going to try to get this shared out to some of our groups to get them talking about it. But this was a research that was pulled from one of our other students that we have here, Abby Hayes. So thank you, Abby, for finding this research. She's an exerciser, and she loves to work out. And so it's kind of fun. She looked at this research up to have us talk about it today. So today we're going to be talking about ear hygiene of gym users. And so she found this article, and it was pulled from the South African Journal of Communication Disorders in 2021. And the objective really was to determine the ear hygiene and middle ear status of gym users who used earphones while exercising. So that was the objective. And the method, what they did was they actually collected data in two different phases. So the first phase was they just had people fill out questionnaires to ask them different things about, what are they using and how often do they exercise. And then phase two really was what they did was they looked in the ears, which is called otoscopic examination, and they ran tympanometry. And tympanometry is, when you come into our office, we put a tiny little probe into your ear. You feel a little bit of pressure, but what it's doing is it's pumping positive and negative pressure into your ears to see how the eardrum is moving back and forth. So we're looking for middle ear status, if there's any fluid in there, if there's a hole in the eardrum, things like that. And so that's what they did in this research. And I'm going to have Trista go over some of the results.
So what they found with this research is that out of the 54 participants, they asked them what kind of ear hygiene did they use. So when they were cleaning their ears and how often, 87% of them said that they randomly clean their ears, just meaning that they clean their ears anywhere from every day to every couple weeks. And they also listed a whole bunch of methods that people ended up cleaning their ears with. Some of them were just using a Kleenex and wiping out the tip of their ears, to some of them actually using a bobby pin and trying to get in there and remove some stuff.
I was going to ask if bobby pin was on there.
Yes, it was. And then 59% of those participants also reported that they cleaned their headphones, anywhere from just wiping it down when they actually saw some stuff on the headphones to actually cleaning it every day. Some of them reported using alcohol wipes to clean them, and some of them reported that there's actual technology wipes that are a little bit more gentle than alcohol, and they use those too. So based on all of that, they also did tympanometry afterwards, and what they saw was that 17% of those participants actually had pathological indicators, or something that might have been going on within the ear canal or behind the eardrum. They noticed that after people had been wearing their their pods or earphones, whatever that they were using, that there's actually more buildup of wax in the ear canal. So 11% of those actually had full occlusion of wax, or that the wax was impacted in there where no sound was getting through. And then 4% of those participants had partial occlusion. So there was a lot of wax present, but still enough room so sound could go through and actually move the eardrum.
Awesome. All right. So, and then what we'll start with, we had looked at this and we thought, we've definitely got some suggestions here as an audiologist, right? And so as audiologists. And so we thought that we would give you some suggestions based on this research that we found. And so Dr. Galloway is going to kick it off for us and give you all some of the suggestions. If you're watching this, if you're watching the replay and you have questions about how to better take care of your ears, reach out, post it here. We'll see it. If you're an audiologist tuning in as well, maybe share your stories or share some of your tips and tricks as well. So we'll start with some of our suggestions with Dr. Galloway.
Yeah, so if you're watching and you're a consumer and you don't have a background in audiology, the reason this is getting looked at is because when you think about using your headphones, you touch them with your hands, you probably touch the public gym equipment, putting those earphones in your ears, taking them out, touching them more, getting bacteria on them, putting them back in the ear. And so you can get something called otitis externa. You can get fungus that grows in the outer or middle ear. So there's different things that can happen just from bacteria. Sometimes you'll hear it say like swimmer's ear or something like that. That's kind of the same thing. So it's just referring to a pathology in the outer or middle ear, that's caused by some outside factors like bacteria. So that's kind of why they decided to look at this. I would think that, that population would have a higher percentage of some otitis externa just because of, the act of touching the gym equipment, touching the earphones, putting them back in your ears. And so one of the other things that we want to point out is that you may be more susceptible to cerumen buildup. So I see this a lot in people that work in factories and wear foam earplugs all day when they're at work, is that you'll see the wax impact in their ear and you can see like a little foam like outlay. It's almost like pushed in where that earplug is pushing against the wax. So much like wearing earphones every day or even hearing aids, if you're putting something in your ear every day and you happen to have like wet, sticky earwax, it can just kind of pack it in there instead of letting the ear, naturally clean itself out. So the eardrum, cells move out of the eardrum or move out of the ear canal and sort of, skin turns over. And that's what your wax is oil, dead skin cells, sweat, things like that. And so the ear kind of naturally cleans itself out. But if you're blocking it every day, it can't kind of do the natural process. So that's one suggestion is if you're somebody that has headphones in all the time, or even like an earpiece at work, make sure that you're having your ears looked in so that that's not a problem, because that can present like hearing loss when really it's just, earwax in the ear. The other thing we recommend is cleaning them regularly. So Trista had mentioned, like wipes, that kind of thing. I would say like those little alcohol prep wipes, they tend to not be very wet. So you just don't want to use a wipe that's going to be really, really wet on your earphone because that could hurt it. But yeah, using like an alcohol wipe or some sort of disinfectant regularly would be good, especially if you're going to the gym and putting your earphones in while you're there. So do you guys want to talk about the other suggestions?
Yeah, and I was going to say too, like some people's wax consistency can be different. So I know that a lot of people that have more of the sticky wax, they might notice it a little bit more. I know that we talked about when are you cleaning your, AirPods?
Yeah.
And I think Hannah was saying that she doesn't clean it very often. But honestly, like unless you actually see something on your AirPods or on the devices that you're putting in your ears, your earbuds, like you're not going to clean it. So, again, it might just be where if it is sticky wax, just make sure that you're keeping track of that. But some people have flaky dry wax too. So as you see the particles on there, sometimes, an alcohol prep pad can help clean off that sticky wax, but maybe even just a small little brush or have like a toothbrush even at home just to kind of brush off any of those little particles that you see just from people that have dry wax as well, right? So that's just an opportunity to learn about different types of consistency of wax too. So the next thing that I'll talk about is, just keeping your earbuds safe and dry, right? And I know that it's so easy to just toss them in your bag, depending on your weather. Like our weather here is like really cold right now. Sometimes people live in more of a humid environment. And so you can use different ways, different things that you can use to help keep your hearing aids dry and safe. So you can use Desiccant jars, not hearing aids. I said hearing aids. I meant earbuds or AirPods. Desiccant jars will help too to draw out the moisture. We had talked about Redux as well. Redux is a great system that we have here in the office. Some audiologists out there might also have it, but Redux is something where, we can actually put your AirPods in there. Earbuds for that matter as well. And all we do is we press a button and it actually draws the moisture out like a vacuum, right? And we can measure in microliters, how much moisture has been removed from your device. We love our Redux system. And I know that if you join us and you are a regular, you know that we have a whiteboard in our back room where we have a contest going internally. We're not like broadcasting it to people, but we're so interested to see how much moisture we're taking out of hearing aids, earbuds, all kinds of different things that you put in your ears. So look for an audiologist or a hearing healthcare professional that might actually have the Redux system, because that's something that even if you weren't storing your earbuds or your AirPods in a safe and dry place, that the Redux system can definitely help you out with that as well. And then we've
heard of people putting the cases in the Redux too. So Dr. Phillips and I are on these audiology boards on Facebook, and I saw somebody say they put the case, the charger in the Redux, and the amount of moisture that it got out of the charger was like So more than what's on our leaderboard, I'll say that. So that's kind of interesting too, because a lot of the hearing aid chargers now, they have like a version that holds charge. So I'm even wondering if we could run those. We should reach out to Matt Hay and ask if that's something that can be
Yeah,
run in
no
there,
kidding.
because
No
you know, if
kidding.
there, it's kind of like AirPods when you're putting it in the case and recharging it, probably moisture sinks down in there. So
Yeah. And it's funny, like going back to what Trista had shared too, we've got 87% of people randomly clean their ears, and 59% are cleaning their earphones, earbuds, AirPods, whatever you're using to stream your music while you're working out. And then I think Trista had another suggestion for us as well.
Yeah, so with this research, it didn't give a lot of information about the types of earbuds, earphones, whatever they were using. So we don't know for certain if maybe some manufacturers may cause a little bit more of that buildup of wax or other pathologies, but just general recommendation is just to, whenever you're out in the gym, you're done, or before you put them in your ears, just wipe them down with something. Always good hygiene habits with that. And yeah, just wash your hands, sanitize, all that good stuff. But definitely kind of interesting just to see that they did this research with gym users where, yeah, they're touching things, you're sweating, you're sharing that sweat with other people. And so really just a good way to remind us, yeah, even though we're putting something in our ears that may just be a second thought, just go ahead and just wipe them down and go and see somebody if you feel like there's something going on with your ears for sure.
I'm going to think about it more. I'll be honest, when I looked at this article, I'm like, I don't work out at the gym. That's not where I choose to do fitness. So that might be part of it, but I should wipe mine down more for sure, because just the act of your hands, or like I take my baby, so I have the stroller, and, the stroller's getting touched a lot too. So I'm going to think twice about it with my AirPods.
Yep, same.
All right. So again, guys, if you have any suggestions for us that you want us to cover, we are planning on doing kind of a research spotlight as well as a philanthropy corner, like last week, talking about Dr. Galloway's trip to Guatemala, or her trips to Guatemala with Faith and Practice. Let us know. We'd be happy to highlight that on our show that goes out in many different platforms. But we will be back definitely next week, 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, with a whole new episode of All Things Odd. So thanks for joining. We'll see you later.